Ladies and gentlemen,
I'd like to know.
Are you ready for start time?
Okay, well, let me kind of move these things around here, you know.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what this is coming down through the audience, but look like he just came out of the basement.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Thank you, because now.
All right, let's bring to the stage.
Yeah. Your Highness.
You're listening to War. We are America Radio.
Did you order the code red?
You don't have to answer that question.
I'll answer the question. You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth! Son, we live in a world that has walls, and those walls have to be guarded by men with guns. Who's gonna do it? You? You, Lieutenant Weinberg? I have a greater responsibility than you can possibly fathom. You weep for Santiago and you curse the Marines. You have that luxury. You have the luxury of not knowing what I know, that Santiago's death, while tragic, probably saved lives, and my existence, while grotesque and incomprehensible to you, saves lives. You don't want the truth because deep down in places you don't talk about at parties, you want me on that wall. You need me on that wall. We use words like honor, code, loyalty. We use these words as the backbone of a life spent defending something. You use them as a punchline. I have neither the time nor the inclination to explain myself to a man who rises and sleeps under the blanket of the very freedom that I provide, and then questions the manner in which I provide it. I would rather you just said thank you and went on your way. Otherwise, I suggest you pick up a weapon and stand a post. Either way, I don't give a damn what you think you are entitled to. Did you order the code red? I did the job. Did you order the code red? You're goddamn right I did!
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. You're probably wondering, what in the world am I seeing on my screen right now? Yes, you're seeing me look more big than I actually am because I'm laying at an angle here. But this is a impromptu video broadcast that I knew I was going to do somewhat, but didn't know I wouldn't have all of my material ready. So I apologize for that. So I'm going to talk and I'm going to talk and I'm going to talk while I get this first clip ready. Now, we all know the situation going on with Hillary Teflon, Hillary Clinton. And if you didn't know, as far as the CP, Colored People's Time joke that went horribly wrong, I don't know why she even attempted to do that, but she did. And here's my take on it. First of all, just stop, Hillary. Just stop. That's number one. Just don't take it there. Don't go there, and just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. Come on now, please. People just need to just leave it alone. Stop. Leave it alone. Stop. Leave it alone and stop. That's what I'm trying to say. So, for those that didn't understand what I'm saying, what I just said right now, tell Hillary Clinton to don't do any more black jokes. It's not befitting of her. Nothing is really befitting of her, to be honest. But I'm going to go ahead and play the first clip of this evening and to make sure that I'm actually on air. So I want to play this clip. And when this clip goes, you're going to be like, what happened to Dan?
And welcome back to Hannity. It's now official. Senator Ted Cruz swept all 34 delegates in Colorado following a complex delegate selection procedure. In response, while Donald Trump is slamming the GOP nominating process, here's what he said earlier tonight.
The system's rigged. And I'll tell you what, when you look at Colorado, and people could say, oh, well, that's the way the game's played. Look, they should have had an election. They didn't have an election. That system is set up so that the crooked politicians can make sure they get somebody in that's not, part of what we're doing. This is a movement, folks. I'm self-funding my campaign. They hate it. And I'll tell you what, the RNC, the Republican National Committee, they should be ashamed of themselves for allowing this kind of crap to happen.
Now, Senator Cruz, he responded to Trump's complaints. Watch this.
Donald has been yelling and screaming. A lot of whining. I'm sure some cursing. And some late-night fevered tweeting. All the characteristics I would note we would want of a commander-in-chief.
Now, yesterday, RNC Chairman Reince Priebus attempted to ease tensions by tweeting, quote, "The rules were set last year, nothing mysterious, nothing new, the rules have not changed, the rules are the same, nothing different." Here now is the man that is tasked with securing Trump delegates. Donald Trump's convention manager, Paul Manafort, is with us. Did you really want to jump into this mess? Congratulations.
It may look like a mess, but I like the position we're in.
Yeah. You were there in '76.
I was.
At the contested convention. That was Ronald Reagan challenging a sitting president. It was a pretty amazing story, right?
It was quite a story, and there's a lot of deja vu going on.
You feel it? All right. Let's talk about Colorado. Issue of contention. Is it rigged? Is it corrupt?
The point that Donald Trump was making is that the process in Colorado was being abused. And, it's not that the rules themselves were unknown. It's the way the rules were applied, the way and the number of instances where ballots were not allowed to be counted because the numbers were wrong, and they were all wrong, and only people that related to.
Is that the 378, not 379?
Yeah. The thing is, if it was only in Colorado, then you'd say it was just, just unorganized. But we're seeing the same mistakes in Colorado, in Missouri, and in a couple of Louisiana, and so the mistakes are not really mistakes. It's a pattern.
A pattern of what? A
pattern of, at the local levels, abusing the amateurness of the enthusiasm of Republicans who want to participate in the process and are being cut out by backroom tactics. That is the hallmark of the Cruz campaign. I mean, he got caught with Carson in Iowa. He got caught with Rubio in Florida. And he's going to get caught in all these places.
So you think Ted Cruz is doing this? Do you have any evidence that he is?
We are compiling evidence. We're going to be filing several credentials challenges. And, whether we win on the challenges or not, the point is what's happening is if you go to these meetings and you're not a Cruz supporter, you don't want to be a Republican when you leave because they're so abused.
What I would like this. I'm a big believer states should be able to do what they choose. But it is a national party. So I think there ought to be some basics. If you want to have a caucus, have a caucus. You want to have a primary. If you want to have proportional distribution, have proportional distribution. If you want winner takes all, winner takes all. But the idea that the people don't vote and participate troubles me. This has nothing to do with Colorado. Just in general, I think the people have to participate, and that their will must be reflected in the end. Is that?
And that's what Donald Trump is talking about. He's talked about the rigged economy. He's talked about the rigged banking system. And now he's talking about the rigged political system. And what he's saying is that through his candidacy, he's going to try and bring clarity to all of this, get rid of the unfairness of it. And in politics, his position is not much different than yours. We're playing by the rules, and we're winning by the rules. And, one of the distortions that the Cruz campaign is trying to put out there is that he's winning delegates. No, he's not winning delegates. He's winning bodies in some of these places with some of these tactics.
He's also, apparently, according to reports, he's working on Trump delegates for a second ballot, that they would switch to him. Is he successful in that?
That's what I mean. He's not turning any Trump delegates who are delegates. What he's trying to do is put Cruz people in place of elected, of Trump delegates spots that have been mandated by the elections. So the reality is Colorado was a unique situation. But in places like Louisiana, we're going to have the Trump vote cast as the Trump vote. Some of that vote is going to be actually people who support Donald Trump. It should all be, but it's not going to be. Some of it are going to be people who support Cruz and going to have to vote for Trump. Now, mind you, this is a round world. And there's going to be some places where we're going to have the same kind of thing. I'll call attention to Nevada in about.
What about 50-some-odd delegates from Pennsylvania unbound?
Those are fair game for everybody, and everybody's going to be working on them. But the point, I guess, that I want to stress is the whole premise of the Cruz campaign of a second ballot misses the point. There's not going to be a second ballot.
Right now, Donald Trump would need 61% of delegates to win the nomination. If it's needed in terms of remaining bound delegates, it's 66%. For Ted Cruz, it's 97% of bound delegates remaining, not unbound. For Kasich, it's 150%. Right now, it's 755 to 545, 210. But you do have New York coming up. I would assume you expect most of the delegates in New York.
Not only New York, but the whole Northeast. I mean, we're out of Cruz land. Cruz is not even going to be finishing second for the next couple of weeks. He's going to be distant thirds in a lot of places.
So, in other words, you think Trump wins New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Pennsylvania, Delaware, and Maryland?
I think we're doing very well in all those places. All the polls show us leading, and we're just starting to put our campaigns together.
It seems like the Cruz campaign is spending a lot of time, energy, focus in districts in California, especially Los Angeles, outside the Los Angeles County. Kasich seems to be targeting the more northern part of the state, San Francisco, et cetera. Is it going to come down to June 7th?
Well, June 7th is going to put us over, but we're not going to have to win overwhelmingly on June 7th. We're going to have.
You really?
I think we're going to
walk me through your math then.
We're going to have a ground game in California where we're going to be focusing on the congressional districts as well. We announced our state chairman today. We've been putting people on the ground. California is going to be a battleground.
So you think you can get to 1237 even before June 7th?
No, I think we'll need June 7th. But I think before June 7th, it's going to be apparent that Donald
Reagan, is that what you're about to say?
There's a lot of similarity to the 1980 race with Reagan and Trump. And a lot of the criticisms of Reagan in 1980 are the same ones being...
Okay, last question. Walk me through your math.
Well, I'm not going to walk you through the math.
You don't want to walk me through the math?
I'm not going to do that yet.
Oh.
But I'm going to...
the people want to hear it.
Well, just keep watching, because it's going to become very apparent. April is going to be a very bad month for Ted Cruz. I mean, he'll probably finish third in delegates in April compared to...
By the end of April, what do you think you'll be at?
We'll be on our way.
You almost sound like a politician. But anyway, Paul, congratulations on your position. We appreciate you being on the program. We're going to be with Trump tomorrow for the hour. We had Kasich Monday. We have Cruz on Friday. I don't know if you're in Pittsburgh tomorrow.
No, he's just finishing up a rally with 25,000 people, I think.
A lot of people.
Yeah.
All right. And
Okay, so now I'm coming to you in a woo. Just got my light back high behind here. Woo. And I'm actually going to go woo to my phone here to make sure I'm on. And for those who are just catching on right now, and those who may want to let everybody know, for right now, the Ustream player that usually comes up at weareamericaradio.com, and when you click on the Listen Live tab, is not up. So you have to go to the Ustream link that I provided in my Facebook event. Or if you're on a mobile device and you have the War Radio app up, what you need to do is go to pause the actual audio broadcast. Just hit pause and then go to the menu and then go down to video podcasts. And then you'll see this live stream right now. So if you want to spread the word, just spread the word for yours truly about that. That would be awesome. So with this impromptu video broadcast of the Political Heat Live here on War Radio, We Are America Radio, War. That's right. You just heard a in-depth clip from the new guy, the Manafort guy, for the Trump campaign. And he's pretty confident, if you listen. He seemed pretty confident that things are going to go in Trump's way. But we'll see. To me, as I look at the mathematically, he doesn't have the, I guess, path to the 1237. So we're going to have this open, contested, wherever the heck it's called, convention in Cleveland in July. So we'll see how that pans out. We'll see how that works out. And we'll go from there. But this next clip I want to play, and it's a succession of two clips together, basically talking about Barack Hussein Obama and this whole Hillary Clinton issue. And the first clip is his homeboy, his mouthpiece, Josh Earnest, once again running off at the mouth.
Suzanne.
Can I just follow up on that? So the president also said he doesn't believe that Hillary Clinton put the national security at risk. So is just to be clear, is this a belief or is this knowledge based on knowing the emails or being briefed that these emails did not put national security at risk?
Well, let me be clear about this, Suzanne. The president has neither sought nor received a confidential briefing or confidential information about the ongoing investigation. The president's knowledge about this situation is based entirely on public reporting. This is one of the benefits of the approach that Secretary Clinton and her team have taken to dealing with this matter. Secretary Clinton said, well, let's just make all the email public. And all of you and your news organizations have spent God knows how many hours reviewing all those emails. Some of them interesting, most of them mundane, but it does give the American public some insight into what is included in those emails. And when you hear the president's public comments on this matter, it's based entirely on the reporting that you and your news organizations have done on this matter.
So he's confident that there's nothing that is missing in any of the reporting. I mean, he's absolutely confident that he has all the information he needs to come up with that conclusion.
Well, I think the president was asked a specific question, and he shared his view based on public reporting on this that has been done. At the same time, the president was careful, both at the beginning and at the end of the questioning, to acknowledge, and this sort of goes back to what Julie was asking, to acknowledge that the opinion that really matters here is the opinion of the independent investigators who are taking a close look at this. And the president does have confidence that those prosecutors and other investigators will exercise their independent judgment, that they'll set politics aside and they'll focus on the facts of the case, and they will allow the facts to guide them as they pursue their investigation. And that is certainly what the president would expect. And it's consistent with what both Attorney General Lynch and Director Comey have said about their investigations.
And just another point.
Now, as you can see, I'm in chillax mode tonight. You can tell this by me just chilling on my bed with my little headset on, doing this show that we call the Political Heat Live here on World Radio. But this is the wonderment and the pleasure of having the technology that we have today, that I could come to you sitting on my bed with my laptop and bring you this kind of show. So kudos to those people with brains that have allowed this kind of technology to come forth. Now, this is the second clip I wanted to play, and this is the Washington Free Beacon supercut talking about how Barack Obama found out about what's going on with Hillary Clinton and her email situation.
Mr. President, when did you first learn that Hillary Clinton used an email system outside the U.S. government for official business while she was Secretary of State?
At the same time, everybody else learned it through news reports.
Were you disappointed?
Let me just say that Hillary Clinton is and has been an outstanding public servant. She was a great Secretary of State for me. I'm glad that Hillary is instructed that those emails that had to do with official business need to be disclosed.
Do you think it posed a national security problem?
I don't think it posed a national security problem. I think that it was a mistake that she's acknowledged. I do think that the way it's been ginned up is in part because of politics.
Do you agree with what President Clinton has said and Secretary Clinton has said, that this is not that big a deal? Do you agree with that?
I can tell you that this is not a situation in which America's national security was endangered.
This administration has prosecuted people for having classified material on their private computers.
Well, there is no doubt that there have been breaches, and these are all a matter of degree.
Over 2,000 of her emails contained classified material. 22 of the emails had top secret information. Can you still say flatly that she did not jeopardize America's secrets?
Hillary Clinton was an outstanding Secretary of State. She would never intentionally put America in any kind of jeopardy. And what I also know, because I handle a lot of classified information, is that there's classified and then there's classified. I continue to believe that she has not jeopardized America's national security. I also think it is important to keep this in perspective.
You guarantee to the American people Hillary Clinton will be treated as the evidence goes. She will not be in any way protected.
I can guarantee that.
Even if she ends up as the Democratic nominee.
How many times do I have to say it, Chris? Guaranteed.
Okay, what a jackass. What a jackass. You see how he came off? You see how he was so snide and snarky? Bet on it, count on it. Really? We haven't been able to count on you for anything for the past 7.5 years. So why in the world are we going to count on you on this? I know what we're going to count on. I know what we're going to bank on is the fact that you are going to let Hillary Clinton slide, even though she has committed multiple felonies. Yes, multiple felonies. And for you to sit there and say that you're not going to be involved whatsoever, man, you must be stuck on stupid. Well, you have been stuck on stupid for the past 7.5 years, Mr. Barack Hussein Obama. And I'm like multitasking here, as you said. I got my phone here. I'm getting my next clip ready. But this is how we roll here at We Are America Radio. Listen to yours truly live here, Political Heat on War Radio. And let me see here. He said, my man Wayne was supposed to check and make sure that the what's name should be working on the, because when you went to the weareamericaradio.com/listen live, I was not playing, but I'm going to go ahead and see if that is working. So if you just bear with me for just 1 second, that's all I need you to do is bear with me 1 second. And for those out there who have a topic at hand that you want to talk about, that you have anything that you want to discuss, and as I'm checking right now, it looks like yes, we are. Yes. So if you go to weareamericaradio.com and go to the Listen Live link, you will be able to check me out, and I'm gonna confer that to let my man Wayne know that everything's cool. And as this is live, y'all. This is live. Everything is working, Mr. CEO. Everything is working. Yes, everything's cool. So now that we got that taken care of, and now we got that out of the way, I want to go ahead and talk about a few things here. And let me go ahead and gather myself. Let me make sure I'm actually live here. Yes, I am. Yep. All right. So, well, this Hillary Clinton situation is definitely a hotbed topic. And for those out there who are actually in the know and want to actually know what's going on, it's something that most of us want to know about. And for those that don't want to know about it, you got an issue. I don't care if you're on the Democrat side. You need to know that the former Secretary of State did things behind the scenes, was sly about it, sneaky about it, didn't want you to know what was going on with her transactions, her communications. She didn't want to leave any breadcrumbs, no type of trail whatsoever in regards to what she was doing as Secretary of State. That is evident. That is clear. That is a positive and true statement from yours truly, Dan Adams, a.k.a. the prosecutor, a.k.a. the soulful conservative, a.k.a. the laid back with the flow back, chilling on my bed doing this show here on the Political Heat live here on War Radio. Now, as I was saying, and as I digress, we have a situation, once again, where we have Barack Hussein Obama ready to give Hillary Clinton, or probably already has, signed off on a get-out-of-jail-free card. She will not be held accountable for her actions whatsoever. And to me, that almost seems as if, let's think about it. Let's talk about it for a second. And this next clip I'm going to play, is from Morning Joe. And 99.9% of what goes on in that show, even though Joe has his, he used to be, on the right side. He's kind of, I don't know if you say he's in the middle, but he's definitely not a leftist. He's definitely not a socialist, a communist, or a Marxist. But he himself had a big issue in regards to this whole email situation. And that whole interview and what Barack Hussein Obama had to say in regards to him not being involved at all, him not being involved in regards to this email Clinton investigation, this Hillary, what was the name of the domain? I think it was clintonmail.com or something like that. And now there's the reports out now that some particular foreign faction hacked into that for certain, and they have proof of it. But I'm going to let Morning Joe and his crew talk about the situation, and we're going to come back and we're going to talk about it more.
Button this up.
I guarantee it. I guarantee that there is no political influence in any investigation conducted by the Justice Department or the FBI, not just in this case, but in any case.
And she will be
full stop, period.
When President... Wait. Can you guys believe what you just heard?
He said, believe me. Like someone else.
He said he wasn't going to talk to the Attorney General about the pending investigation, but he just did. As he did back in October when he said, no national security issues here, nothing to see move along. The FBI complained. There was a New York Times article back in October saying the President of the United States should really let us finish our investigation before he starts drawing conclusions that we have scores of agents studying on. And he just did it again. And then in the same interview, Mark Halperin said, but I'm not talking to my Attorney General about it. Talk about a rigged process.
It seemed ill-advised to say, I got no connection to this.
These are the rules.
I got no connection to this, but here's what I know about it, and here's my conclusion.
I guarantee
it just seems ill-advised. You just should say, I shouldn't talk about it. There's a pending investigation. I want to keep myself away from it in every way. Leave this to the independence of the Justice Department. I don't know why he went on at such length defending her, because in theory he shouldn't really know the facts of the case.
Well, exactly. But suggested now in October and again this weekend, John Heilemann, that he knows the facts of the case. Yeah. That someone has been reading him in on the facts of the case. And he has drawn the ultimate conclusion, which is national security was not jeopardized. That is why the FBI is putting, I don't know, is it 40? Is it 50? Is it 60? We've heard it's over 100. Then they but put on scores of people to investigate this, and then the guy that at the end of the day runs the entire government says, oh, there's nothing to say.
In Alice in Wonderland, we call that verdict first.
That is verdict first, while he is at the same time saying, I guarantee there's going to be a fair investigation.
You're going to like the way
it seems ill-advised to me on two different levels. One is that by saying this, he's undermining, if the Attorney General decides that there's nothing, that there's no problem, he's undermining that conclusion by having prejudged it. He's also, just in a purely political context, he's also implicitly putting his finger on the scale in terms of Hillary Clinton versus Bernie Sanders.
Campaigning for Hillary.
Sense, he is,
may as well endorse her.
He should be, again, and if I were a Bernie Sanders supporter, I would not appreciate the President of the United States doing something that, as Bernie Sanders criticizes her judgment on the email thing, having the President weigh in on her side on national television. If I were a Bernie Sanders supporter, I would find that inappropriate.
And Nicole, what if you were the director of the FBI and you had been killing yourself to run a fair investigation, and twice the President of the United States has made a fool of you by saying his investigation doesn't matter because the scales, the lady's not blindfolded. I'm actually tipping the scales right now as the guy that runs this government telling you no problems at all, no national security problems at all.
Yeah, and listen, I don't know if his day shapes up anything like George W. Bush's, but the first person George W. Bush saw in the morning was the FBI director, so I don't know how that's going to go this morning. As a staffer, I would have prepared him for by saying, I know Hillary Clinton, I know what kind of person she is, I think she has good judgment, and I would have told him to leave the investigation alone. So I don't know if he got that advice, he has some smart people around him, and ignored it. I don't know if he got a request from the Clinton campaign to throw her a lifeline. She's lost 8 of the last 9 contests. But again, you go back to the backdrop on which this campaign is being waged, and it certainly felt like someone putting their finger on the scale for someone for whom the investigation has not been wrapped up.
A criminal investigation is being rigged.
Right. It wasn't for him or her, I don't think.
For whatever it's worth, last month, Vice News reported that after the State Department released more than 30,000 of Clinton's emails, there were 22 that were not released because they were deemed top secret and would cause, quote, exceptionally grave damage to national security if disclosed.
So take what Barack Obama said, Mark Halperin, said, I don't think she did anything that impacted national security. The President's own State Department said 22, he goes, I know classified, and then I know classified. No, the State Department said there are 22 emails that, if released, would cause, quote, exceptionally grave damage to America's national security. How does the President go out and say, oh, there's nothing? Does the President I mean, is the president's standards that much lower when it comes to America's national security than his own State Department?
It's similar to her cavalier attitude about the way she handled secrets. And anyone in the government shares this view that there's overclassification. But I'll just say again, I agree with Nicole. I just don't understand why he's commenting on it. He's making the case. It's as if he's like the Clinton campaign communications director and trying to exonerate her before the investigation's completed. He's the last person in the world who should be doing it.
Especially, isn't this the same president, John Heilman, that wanted to throw reporters in jail and was more aggressive with reporters about classified secrets being leaked than any president? And this is a president that's saying no big deal when the State Department is saying that there are at least 22 emails that would cause, quote, exceptionally grave damage to America's national security if released. If a reporter passed that information on, this president would have them in jail already.
I mean, look, the inconsistencies there are pretty profound, and I think the ill-advisability of him commenting on this is just, again, on multiple levels. It's just something he should not be involved in.
Plays into our theme today.
Should not be talking about it.
All right.
Politically, legally,
a rigged system.
Anyway.
The people versus the powerful.
Well, the powerful will win.
This is a rigged system because if a reporter had done this, that, let's say, I don't know, worked for the AP or worked somewhere else and had classified information like this and passed it along through a server that was not secured, that reporter would be in jail. Under this president, that reporter would be in jail.
So the 4 words of the day are?
Rigged, 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 rigged.
The system is rigged. Coming up, the...
Well, come on now. You honestly think that the system, I'm talking about the government, the federal government, the White House administration, the Barack Hussein Obama tyrannical regime is not rigged? If you don't come into the realization that for the past 7.5 years, we have been basically under siege in regards to non-transparency. I think if I hear Josh Earnest or Hussein or whoever else in his administration say they're the most transparent administration of all time, I think I may have a coronary. I'm being serious. Because that is the most idiotic statement that you could possibly say in regards to this White House administration, this Barack Hussein White House administration. As I've said before in the past, and I will say it again now, we will not know and we will not feel the full brunt, the full force of all the Barack Hussein Obama behind the scenes shenanigans until way after he's gone and out of office. We're feeling some tugging right now. We're feeling some clinching right now. But it's going to be just minuscule in comparison to how it's going to be when he actually is out of office and all the things that he did behind the scenes, Mr. Sneak Tip did behind the scenes. We are going to be like, wow, this is why, and I'm going to say it again, this is why we cannot have Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders for that matter, but definitely not Hillary Teflon Clinton in the White House come November. Because she will continue these behind-the-scenes shenanigans and tactics. She will allow whatever Barack Hussein Obama has done in the background that we don't know about until he's gone, that we won't feel the full brunt of those backdoor deals, those back in the woods, chopping wood in the middle of the night. I did this, I did that, I got money flowing here, I got policy changes about to happen this way, that way, here and about, then, there, this, that. I'm telling you, people, I'm telling you, we have not seen the worst of Barack Hussein Obama until that jackass leaves. And this is why it is paramount. Do you hear me? I'm looking in the camera right now. It is paramount that we cannot allow Hillary Clinton to be the next president of the United States of America. I can't put it any plainer. I can't state it any clearer. It cannot happen. So all you hardcore conservatives out there who are never Trumps, I'm telling you right now, you stay home because Trump is the GOP nominee. Cash it in that Hillary Clinton will be the next president. And for all of you Cruz haters, if he's the nominee and you stay home, stamp it. Hillary Clinton will be the next president of the United States of America. And I'm talking real slow right now so you can understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. If you don't go and vote, irregardless as to who the GOP nominee is, and he may not be your first choice, would you rather the choice be Hillary Clinton as the next president of the United States? Do you want to see another 4 years? And it's going to be ×2 in regards to the sneakiness, to the downright, I'm going to do everything behind the scenes. I'm going to stare at you, look at you in the camera, and lie through my friggin' teeth. Meanwhile, I got all this crap going on behind the scenes. Because you know, by evidence of her tenure as Secretary of State, that's what she did. It was all for her benefit. It was all for the benefit of the Clinton Foundation and her family. She did whatever she had to do in order to rake in the millions upon millions of dollars that are sitting in the bank account of the Clinton Foundation. Do you want that to continue? Do you want that to be a reality? I hope not. I pray that is not the situation. I pray that you will come to your senses and say, okay, it's not my nominee, but you know what? We cannot allow Hillary Clinton to be the next president of the United States of America. Now, in regards to the upcoming GOP convention in Cleveland, which hopefully yours truly will be able to make it and join my compadres, CEO of War Radio, Wayne Dupree, and the Godfather, Hutch Bailey Jr. If you want to make that happen, if you go to WayneDupree.com, and click on the, I believe, the donate tab or the donate link or the whatever link that says help us out, because we need your assistance in regards to making sure that we have the capability to broadcast and to do all the behind the scenes work and to make sure that your voice, along with ours, is heard at the GOP convention. We are hoping that you will assist us anyway. $5, $10, whatever dollars you could possibly give us, it will help. It will definitely help. So, as I get this clip together here, and this is Brit Hume on the Kelly File. Now, granted, this is the Kelly File. Haven't watched the show in months, but it's Brit Hume on it, and you know, for the most part, he has some interesting things to say. And this is him talking about the GOP heading for a train wreck. Heading for a train wreck. It is already derailed in regards to all the shenanigans and the things that possibly might happen. But this is Brit Hume on the Kelly File explaining what he feels as the GOP train wreck.
Britt Hume is our Fox News senior political analyst. Britt, great to see you. So this is not letting up. Trump and the RNC are really fighting it out, with Trump saying the system is rigged. He said they should have had elections in Colorado instead of just having delegates make the decisions, and that these are dirty tricksters, the RNC, and they should be ashamed of themselves.
Well, they're not dirty tricks, Megan. Those are the rules. They've been in place for some time. Colorado is selecting its delegates basically the same way it selected its delegates the last time out. And a campaign that was more up to speed would have been all over that. And Trump really didn't make a big effort in Colorado at all. And Cruz did. And the result is Cruz worked the system according to the rules, and he won fair and square. Now, I certainly understand why Donald Trump would be disappointed, but it's silly to claim that it's dirty tricks or illegal, because it's not.
It may not be illegal or dirty, but it's weird. Isn't it a little, doesn't it, see how it strikes people as weird that not a single voter went to the polls in Colorado, and yet Ted Cruz won the state?
Well, in some places they have primaries, and in some places they have caucuses, and some places they have kind of a hybrid of the two, or a state convention. This has been true for as long as I've been covering politics.
But we didn't know.
There are many more primaries now. There are many more primaries now, Megan, than there ever used to be. It used to be that these kind of state-level delegations were chosen by, the party itself and kind of an internal process, and those are the delegates that went to the convention. Primaries are much more common now, and the effort that's been made to democratize the process. But the states have autonomy. The Republican National Committee is not the place to complain about this. The states have the ability to decide how to select their delegates.
Right, you got to go back to Colorado.
The Republican National, the party is really 50 state parties.
Now, what about this? It's interesting because the way it's looking now, and the voting doesn't stop until June 7th, no candidate will emerge with the magic number of delegates to secure the nomination on the first vote at this convention. Trump could do it. He's pretty much the only one who could. But it's looking more like an open convention. And you can see from those numbers, Britt, that in the Bloomberg poll, 64% of the Republican Party says he should get it. If he goes to that convention and he doesn't have 1237, but he's got the most, then he should just get it. So what will it mean if he doesn't on that second ballot?
Well, Megan, it's perfectly understandable to me that people ask whether the person with the most votes should win are going to say yes. I mean, it's almost the question almost kind of answers itself. Of course, under the rules, you have to have a majority. And once you get to the convention, Megan, and you're past the first ballot, the delegates are sovereign. It's up to them. It's not up to any party bosses. There are no party bosses anymore worthy of the name. It just doesn't work that way anymore. So the question those delegates will be facing is this. They're looking at a poll with a distinct majority saying that Trump ought to get it if he has the most delegates. And they're going to be, they're going to be affected by that. But they may also be looking at other polls as well, and they likely will, such as general election polls. And the general election polls where obviously you got not just Republicans, but everybody included, do not look good for Donald Trump. I mean, his negatives in these national polls now are tremendous.
You know his argument on that, which is he's got months to turn that around, and he hasn't even been going after Hillary.
I understand that. I know that, but he keeps saying that he's going to transform himself into this presidential figure that is suddenly going to appeal to people that have been watching him now for the better part of a year and have been turned off by him. I mean, we're not talking about a candidate with sort of bad numbers on this. We're talking about a candidate with atrocious numbers on that.
But he's going to drive her negatives up, too. Even though she's beating him in a lot of these general election matchups, he's going to drive her negatives up.
Well, he will certainly try to do that, Megan, but Hillary Clinton is a pretty known quantity, and people have pretty much, I think, to a great extent made up their mind what they think about her. And I don't think broadly speaking, the electorate's going to go to the polls excited to elect her. This is going to be a campaign in which the lesser of two evils is in play like you've never seen before. But his negatives are terrible, and Republicans in Washington and around the states, they're looking not at just the White House, which many of them, I think, Paul Ryan included, think is lost, They're looking at, they're worried about the Senate, they might lose even if they won the White House, and they're worried about the House of Representatives. So that's what they're going to be looking at. They're also looking at state level races where the candidate at the top of the ticket could really hurt them. So they're going to be looking at the polls that say that Trump ought to get it, but they're also going to be looking at polls that say if he does, they're in trouble. This is why I think we got nothing in store for the Republicans this year but a train wreck. If Trump doesn't get it, even though he has a distinct majority of the delegates, a lot of his people that might otherwise have voted Republican will not. On the other hand, if he does get it, a lot of the independents and some Democrats that Republicans need to win won't turn out for him either. So it looks like lose-lose, and that's what I'm thinking the delegates are going to be looking at when they get to the convention.
Well, so then if all that is true, why did Paul Ryan say, I'm out, forget it, no, not a chance?
Well, because look, if it's lose-lose, why do you want to be in on that?
Well, isn't there the vision of the underdog coming in to save the day?
No, Megan, this doesn't work that way. I mean, it's possible, it's conceivable that after a series of ballots in which neither Trump nor Cruz can win, somebody who's already in the race, Rubio or John Kasich or somebody, might be turned to by the delegates. I mean, nothing like that has happened in a very long time, but it's possible. It's highly unlikely, but it is possible. But I think it would never work for somebody who hasn't been in the race at all to try to come in at the last minute and be the nominee. I think that would be most unlikely.
Pastel Britt, it's always a pleasure. Good to see you tonight.
Thanks, Megan.
Well. Interesting. You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and play this clip, and this is Newt Gingrich kind of talking about the mathematical possibility and feasibility of Donald Trump getting that 1237. And it almost seems as if people now are saying mathematically he does not have a shot to get to that 1237. I'm going to have to do my research further and see if that's the case. I'm going to have to make sure that I do my due diligence to make sure that I know that there is not a mathematical possibility of. Now, put it this way. Of course there is a mathematical possibility that Trump can get to 1237. Will it be a reality is what I'm trying to get at. Will it be something that will actually come to fruition? Will it actually happen? I don't know. And a lot of people who, and I've seen who have supported Trump, are not certain at this point. Trump is now saying, he has a before it was like he's definite, it's going to happen. Now he's kind of pulled back and say, if we get there, if. So even the man in the lead, the front runner, is not completely certain that it's going to happen. So let me go ahead and play this clip right here real quick, and then we'll come back and we'll discuss this further. And make sure I got the clip ready here if I can find it. Let's cue it up. Oh, here we go.
Former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich, is here. Nice to see you, Mr. Speaker. Donald Trump doing very well in New York. Why?
Well, I think part of it is that he's a New Yorker. And he's been around forever. He's been on page 6 in the gossip columns, I think, for over 30 years, almost 40 years now. He feels like a New Yorker. He talks like a New Yorker. And people said, welcome home. I mean, I have to say 60% is big. I thought when he was in the early low 50s he was impressive, but if that poll's anywhere close to accurate, you're going to get a blowout. He'll pick up 95 delegates, and that will be very impressive.
Okay, so it's impressive he gets 95 out of 95 if he does, but what does it mean in terms of getting to 1,237 by July?
He's 95 closer than anybody else.
Well, duh. That one I can figure out myself, believe it or not. Does it mean he's going to get to that?
Oh, look, I think that bringing on Paul Manafort made a huge difference.
Too soon, or too late, rather?
No, not the way Trump operates. Trump is a guy who moves in surges. You just watch him. He focuses very intently, and then he puts enormous resources. And again, this is a guy who's worth somewhere between $4 and $10 billion. So his ability to focus is unlike anybody I've ever seen in politics. Manafort's still got his hands full, but they're pulling it together. I think, candidly, the family's made a big difference. I think they've all sort of pitched in. And I think what you're seeing is that they're going to do very well in New York. They're going to do very well in Pennsylvania. When Cruz is running third, and this is, I had not thought about this coming out of Wisconsin, candidly, because Kasich's doing a little better than people expected. Cruz is doing worse than people expected. What it does, it's very hard to argue that you're the key alternative when you're in third place. And if the numbers we just saw are anywhere close to right, and Cruz is down at 14% or 15%, in what is still our third biggest state, it's going to be our fourth biggest state now, but right close to Florida. It is really going to be challenging for him. And then if he repeats that same performance in Pennsylvania, potentially repeats it in Connecticut and Rhode Island and New Jersey, and then by then they get to Indiana, and by that stage Trump will look like he's very dominant. So I think the odds are better than even money that they can find the delegates before they get to Cleveland.
Donald Trump says that Colorado's rigged.
Well, I don't know if Colorado's rigged or not. I do know that when the state party tweeted that they had beaten Trump,
that was bad.
That was just, I mean, these are the moments when you want to find that person and just sort of put them in a nice Rocky Mountain stream, you know, for about 6 hours. I mean, this is insane. It fits everybody's conspiracy theory. You know, I'm sure that Cruz is mortified by it. And, of course, it feeds into a whole bias in Trump world about how the establishment is going to cheat. Now, I think in the end they can't cheat enough to make it matter.
Do you think Cruz and Trump will ever be sort of standing on that stage together with their arms around each other in Cleveland?
Well, I'm old enough that I remember Lyndon Johnson and John F. Kennedy suddenly finding happiness together. Stranger things have happened in life. George H.W. Bush of voodoo economics deciding that actually supply-side economics was terrific if he could be vice president. So these things happen. I think it's more likely that Kasich would emerge as the vice presidential nominee.
Well, that would give, I mean, that would presumably give the Republican Party Ohio and Florida, and the word is that they can't win without Ohio and Florida. Trump is, of course, Florida.
And they're going to get Texas. I mean, any Republican candidate who's not going to carry Texas might as well not campaign.
All right, one quick question. Hillary Clinton and Senator Bernie Sanders, why has she not been able to get him out of the race?
Well, why should he get out of the race? He's figured out a model of financing that
Why can't she get him out? Why hasn't she been able to trounce him?
Because it doesn't matter. She's going to trounce him in New York.
It just doesn't matter.
It just doesn't matter.
So she's just being sort of nice, letting him sort of tag along?
But in a free society, so she trounces him. So here's Bernie. He's sort of a college professor kind of guy. I mean, his future is Vermont or being a candidate, so he stays a candidate. And he goes around. He's having fun. He gets huge crowds. The college kids who love him couldn't care less about reality. I mean, it's the perfect, you know, if a guy's winning because his campaign theme is, I'm going to give you a free education, legalize marijuana, you can be happy for the 23 years it takes you to graduate. Why do you think any of his supporters care?
Anyway, Mr. Speaker, nice to see you.
Good to see you.
Well, I think Newt Gingrich, he's a funny dude. He's a straight-laced guy, but he's funny. He's absolutely funny. Well, hey, we're about to wrap it up here. And I appreciate those who hung in there. I appreciate those who, you know, actually was able to watch this particular broadcast. And I know it was, you know, impromptu. And, you know, usually I don't do a video broadcast. Even though for when we first got on this new hosting network that we're on, Sirius, that I was doing video broadcasts and I went straight back to radio. But I'm going to try and do this, you know, periodically. So, you know, you can see this wonderful face of yours truly. Just kidding. But, you know, for those who want to get in contact with me, you hit me up on Twitter at DanAdamsPGH. On Twitter, that's at DanAdamsPGH. On Facebook, you can hit me up, DanAdams73. That is DanAdams73. And the website is thepoliticalheat.com. Until next time, God bless you and yours. May he keep you and your family safe. Until next time, God bless. Let me make sure I got my clip ready. I'm going to play yours truly, I think. Am I going to play myself? I think I might just play myself here. Hold up, let's see. Am I going to play myself on out? I think I am. This song is entitled Summertime by yours truly. If you go to the melodic.bandcamp.com and click on the Summer Pack EP, it's free. Peace, y'all.
Yes. Come on. Hip hop soul. Yeah. Let me take your hand and I'll lead the way, bringing hip hop soul to the break of day. Just leave those worries far behind and feel the heats of the summertime. Let me take your hand and I'll lead the way, bringing hip hop soul to the break of day. Just leave those worries far behind and feel the heats of the summertime. Stutter, stepping into the first rhyme interlude as I bring you the food that keeps you in the mood for this hip-hop soul lose control. The betterment of all mankind, totally dependent on this rhyme, searching for the next big thing, melodic and rhyme, and yes, he can sing. Let me take your hand and I'll lead the way, bringing hip-hop soul to the break of day. Just leave those worries far behind and feel the heats of the summertime. Let me take your hand and I'll lead the way, bringing hip-hop soul to the break of day. Just leave those worries far behind and feel the heats of the summertime. Get into it, full recognition. Purposely built up my soul's transmission. Rough, rugged, and raw, let's explore. The name is show enough, and that's for sure. Replicate, demonstrate, overcompensate, deviate, let me penetrate, infiltrate, so I complicate, but I'm keeping it real. Let me take your hand and I'll lead the way, bringing hip-hop soul to the break of day. Just leave those worries far behind and feel the heats of the summertime. Let me take your hand and I'll lead the way, bringing hip-hop soul to the break of day. Just leave those worries far behind and feel the heats of the summertime.